Hey guys, Johnny May here, and welcome to lesson number 5 of the 10-day Piano with Johnny Intermediate Advanced Blues Challenge. And guys, today you are going to learn how to slide. These are called blues slides. And in today's lesson, you're gonna learn 4 slides. These are the 4 slides that I love to use when I'm playing the blues. First, we have the lower position slides where you have 2 different slides. You have an up slide and a down slide. Then we have the upper position slide, which is an up slide, and then the middle position slide, which is a double slide. You're gonna learn all slides today. I'm gonna teach you how to play them, techniques for how to practice them, and then of course, how to improvise using the slides. We're gonna talk about how to combine them, and then I'm gonna teach you how to play harmonized slides, where you add a note to the slides to make them sound super bluesy. I'm super excited about today's lesson. Now be sure to download that free backing track, and let's go ahead and get started. All right, guys, I am so excited to teach you how to use slides in your playing. Slides is one of the most important techniques that you need to be able to have as a blues piano player. If you can't play slides, you won't really sound like you're playing the blues. What does a slide sound like? Let me show you. Throwing a lot of slides in there while I was playing, but how do slides work? How do you slide? Well, we're gonna approach this from multiple angles. Let's actually start from the lower position, and there are actually 3 positions that I use when I slide. I have a low position, I have a middle position, and an up position. So we're gonna be focusing on each one of these positions. Let's first focus on the lower position slides, and when we're in this position, you can slide a down slide or an up slide. We're going to first work on down slides, okay? Here's a position 1, or low position down slide. Okay, so when I say low position, I mean the thumb is on C, okay? So that's the bottom of our C blues scale. And what I'm going to do is, now instead of hitting an F, right before you may have just played the F by itself, now you're going to slide down from that G flat, okay? So we're going to use finger 3 and come down like that, okay? Now, if this is new to you, it's going to feel a little bit weird, okay? But you're going to strike the G flat and slide down with the same finger. Now, some piano players will use 2 fingers like that. Would I say that's wrong? No, I would not say that's wrong. You can use that fingering, but that actually sounds more like a slide than that. That sounds like 2 notes. That sounds like a rubbed note, okay? And so I generally like to slide with the same finger. I also like the same finger because if you harmonize your slide, it's easier, okay? Like, that would be really hard to do. In fact, I can't even play it, right? That's super awkward. So, in general, with my slides, I will use the same finger, okay? So, first get the slide down. Get nice and comfortable with that. And once you're able to sort of do that, then what I want you to do is work on creating lines, okay? And the same principles apply that we've been talking about, right? A line is a very short phrase, okay? A short, simple phrase, clear beginning and a clear ending, okay? So you can take the first 2 measures, C to F, and just work on lines using this one slide. That was actually 2 different phrases, okay? Here's another one. That was, again, 2 phrases, okay? But notice they were very different, right? The first one, I started with the slide. The second one, I come up from the C, okay? So you really want to keep in mind all of the principles we talked about, starting on different notes, right? Maybe you start on the E flat. Okay? Maybe start on the F. Another thing, like when I just played that line, I actually repeat the F twice, right? Bum, 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 and then slide it, okay? And that's something I'll do a lot, right? Bum, 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 bum. So in other words, you're going F and then sliding it a second time, okay? And you can totally do that. You can repeat the note. So hopefully you sort of get the idea here. Also think in terms of direction, right? You can do an up line, you can do a down line. All right, variety, variety, variety. So important. Don't play the same thing. If you're playing the same thing, are you really soloing? Yeah, you're soloing, but you know, again, a good soloist has lots of different things they can do, and you really got to build that foundation now by experimenting. If you're feeling frustrated and you're thinking, Johnny, you know, I want to play on the whole keyboard, okay? We will get there. I promise you, we're going to get to the whole keyboard. But if you can't create interesting lines with only 4 notes, how are you going to create interesting lines with all of these notes? It's going to be overwhelming. It's going to be too much. So you really got to master just a simple, you know, 4-note position like this. In fact, we have a whole beginner blues challenge where we really focus a long time on each of these position, lower and upper positions. So if you're struggling, by the way, check out the beginner blues challenge because we really simplify things even more, okay? So you're doing a great job. What I want you to do now is just work on lines, okay? Just like we did. And like I said, you could work on it for the first 2 chords, short, simple phrases. Once you start feeling comfortable, go ahead and play it over the full 12-bar blues form. Here's an example of what it might sound like. We'll go medium slow. 1, 2, 3, 4. Notice I'm repeating the note a lot, okay? You can do that, guys. Again, this is like improvising, but it's also like an exercise, right? I'm really limiting you. I'm saying do this one thing. So just keep that in mind. You can also use triplets. We're using a lot of 8th notes, or 1 and 2 and 3. But you can do triplets. Triplet, 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 triplet. Triplet, triplet, triplet. Triplet, 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 triplet. Triplet, 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 triplet. Okay, do you guys get the idea here? Really, really mixing things up. Okay, very good. You're doing a great job. Let's go ahead now and play with a backing track. If you've not downloaded this track, download the blues backing track. It comes for free with this 10-day blues challenge. The sheet music, as you see here on the screen, this is available, by the way, for our members at Piano with Johnny. If you're a member, you can download the PDF and print it, which is an awesome thing. Also, we have the smart sheet music where you can change the key. That is an amazing feature, which is really, really cool as well. Okay, guys, let's go ahead and play this with the blues backing track, okay? Here it is, and we're using slides. This is the down slide. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, make sure to leave nice gaps. It's okay to have space. Okay, so what I want you to do now is use solo. I'll walk you through, and I'll just put some ideas in your head, okay? Hopefully this will guide you along as you solo, okay? This is all you. You're doing down slides, lower position, and here we go. 1, 2, here we go. 2F. Really feel that groove, okay? Think melody. How can I play melodically? How can I play simply? It does not need to be complex. You want it to be musical. You want it to be singable, something you could sing along with. Okay? Try punching the same note. Let's try that G flat. Just hit that G flat a few times. Try sliding the F a few times. Slide, slide, slide. Slide, slide, slide. Okay. just a few ideas to throw your way as you're practicing this slide. Okay, guys, so that is the down slide. I think that's pretty much all the points. We talked about eighth notes. We talked about triplets that you can do with this down slide. You guys can also practice this slide when you're doing your lines in multiple octaves, okay? Meaning, let's say you were doing, you know, a down line. See what I did there? Okay? So you can come all the way down, and when you get down to that position you want to end in, you can kind of move into the slide. You can also do it when you're doing a down line, like that, okay? And then basically, you know, anytime I get down, you know, where I would normally play the F by itself, I'm going. Okay, you can also come up like, you know, right? We kind of come up G, B flat, and then slide down. There's lots of ways you can approach this note, but generally speaking, that's the way I would use it in a down line. Okay? So, very cool, guys. Something else I love to do is an up slide in the lower position. An up slide, okay? Basically, an up slide is where you just reverse the order. What I'm doing here is I'm sliding up from the F to the G flat, okay? I'm using my 2 finger to the 3rd finger, and I'm doing like this. Now for this slide, you have to use 2 fingers, right? You can't use the same finger, right? So this one, you just try to make it as smooth as you can. The F comes just before the G flat, okay? So you just work on this a few times, get nice and comfortable, and then try to work on lines with this. And I did talk about this in our last lesson, but sometimes when you're in a low position like this, after the up slide, you want to come down, you use the 3rd finger, okay? And the tendency is to use the 2 finger, and that's a problem though, because now you've got to use the 2 finger like that. And you could do that with the 2 finger. My preference is to go 3, 3, 2, 1. Okay, so I think that's better fingering. Okay, and so you're going to encounter this challenge when you're doing up slides. Because you want to come down, well, use the 3rd finger. Okay, so work on lines. Okay, new lines. You start low. You start in the middle. Lots and lots of different options. Let's go ahead and play it with the, not with the track, we'll do it once medium slow. I'll give you a variety of lines and then we'll do it with the track, okay? Here it is medium slow. A 1, 2, a 3, 4, a 1. Notice I'm using eighths and triplets. You can also use this in your lines, meaning if you wanted to do a down line, you could do it like that. I'd probably do it like that where I skip to E flat. Okay, you could do a longer down line and then move into it. That's very cool. You could start with it. You could come up here like, right? And then you could actually go to a down slide there. Okay, that would be like a combined slide, right? We're starting with an up slide and then go into our down slide. That is a very cool technique you can do there as well. But the idea here is how do you actually use it in lines when you're maneuvering up and down? That's my general approach. See what I'm doing, right? down lines. You can use it on an up line. Okay, but I usually use it more in a down setting. So that is the down or the up slide in the lower position. Before we play with the track, the other thing I was starting to do, and we're going to talk more about this later, is combined slides. As you start getting comfortable with this slide, you can actually combine it with the down slide, okay? Meaning you could start with an up slide, and then a down slide. You see what we're doing there, right? Up, up, down, up, down, okay? We're still playing short phrases, that phrase at a very clear start and end spot, but we're doing a down and we're doing an up, okay? Let me show you some examples of this. 3, 4, up. See all the things we can do with just these two slides, all of the variety. We're not even harmonizing these slides. You can do harmonies. Okay, we're going to be talking about that later, okay? But for now, I really want you to master these two slides. This is the down slide and the up slide, and you can combine the slides, okay? Hopefully you get the idea here. Let's go ahead now and play it with the blues backing track, okay? Here it is. These are up slides. We can do triplets. Notice I use the 3 to 4. You can do that fingering. Or you can do 2 to 3. Hopefully you guys caught that there, but there I was using the 3. If that's easier fingering, you can do that as well. Okay, so guys, that is the down slide, that is the up slide. I'll do it once with the track with some combined slides. I think that'll be a little bit of fun. I'll also demonstrate how to use this in multiple octaves, okay? Here's how to combine the down slide and the up slide. 1, 2, here we go. Okay, we'll do some directional lines. We'll do the same thing again. This time I'm going to play lines sort of maneuvering up and down the piano, and whenever I get to this general position, I'm going to utilize some of these slides. Okay, here it is. 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. So hopefully that's giving you some ideas on how you can utilize this on a larger scale within your solo, okay? So I want you guys to get very, very comfortable with these two slides. The other thing is sometimes my students will struggle with, okay, Johnny, I'm playing lines up and down the piano, I'm playing triplets, I'm playing eighth notes, how do I incorporate these slides? Well, you can do just as I showed you, but I think they struggle with the idea of sort of sitting in one position, and this is something you can totally do. Don't be afraid to just sit in this lower position, right? You can do a cool line down the piano. And don't be afraid to sit there. very, very important. There's something else that I want to share with you guys about creating lines, and I sort of mentioned this as I was playing. But what is a good line? And you know, we've been talking a lot about what makes a good line, right? It's got a clear starting point, it has a clear ending point. You want your lines to be different. You can start on different notes, you can start on different beats, you can start in different directions. But none of these descriptions really define, to me, what makes a good line. What is a good line? A good line is a singable line. A singable line. What does that mean? Well, it means you can sing it, okay? To me, when I hear someone do like, you know, okay, I would rather hear something like this. Okay, that to me is something you could sing. Okay, rather than some line that jumps all the way up and all the way down the piano. I think the best soloists are the ones that can usually take a small set of notes and create something singable. And so the most singable lines are also the most simple lines, right? It's hard to sing, right? And to jump all the way around the piano. So don't be afraid of simplicity. I think the most memorable solos sometimes are the ones where the improviser is just sitting on the same set of notes and he's playing very simple lines. Sometimes he's punching notes, but okay? A lot of simplicity to that, okay? Singable lines as you play. That's going to be something I want you to reflect on in this lesson. In fact, something you can do is actually sing with your solo. And a lot of blues pianists, jazz pianists are known for doing this. Like while they're playing, they're actually singing the whole thing. And in fact, while I'm teaching you, you're probably hearing me sing, and it's really hard not to do, right? And this actually really helps pianists and soloists to come up with singable lines is, hey, actually try to sing it. That will really be a test if you are in fact playing singable lines, okay? So that's a little trick I'll do when I'm soloing. Like a lot of people don't know, sometimes I'll sing real soft, right? So other people don't hear, but I'm just, you know. So it's something I encourage you to do, even if you don't sing and you're not like a trained singer. That's not really the point. The point is try to sing. It'll be a test of how singable and how musical your lines are. Okay? Something I really encourage you to do. All right, so we have talked about lower position down slides. We've talked about up slides in the lower position. We're going to move now to the upper position, what I call upper position slides. Okay? Not hard to do, guys. Here's the upper position slides. So you're just going to work in this upper position. The upper position slide is an up slide to G, okay? And I use the 2 finger. And then here, you know, you can end on the pinky as long as you're not going up into multiple octaves. And I would just create lines in this upper position. Okay? You can practice it over the first 2 measures. That was 2 different phrases, right? Variety of lines. Okay, you can do 8th notes. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Or you can do triplets. Okay, here's another triplet line. See what I'm doing? Triple it up, triple it up. Lots and lots of cool things that you can do with this as well. Okay, let's go ahead and work through the form now using this upper position approach. Okay, we're going to build lines. Again, I'm really limiting you guys here. You might be thinking, Johnny, I want to play the whole keyboard. But hey, you got to be able to create lines, cool lines in this upper position before you can start to use this in your lines using multiple octaves. Okay, here we go. A 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so that is the basic idea of the up slide. That was kind of a medium tempo there. Once you start feeling comfortable in this upper position, then you can go ahead and try it in multiple octaves, okay? So you can like work your way up the piano. Okay. By the way, for this slide, because it is an up slide, it has an upward motion. So for this slide, it works really well on an up line. See what I'm doing? Okay. Ba, ba, All right, you get the idea here? All right, you can also try combining this with the other slides. And in fact, that's actually the last sort of portion of this lesson, is to talk about the combined slides. And this is to combine all of the slides, but you can combine the slides you've learned so far. Okay, so you can do this up slide and then a down slide. You see what I'm doing there, right? Up slide and then down like that. In fact, that's a super cool line. We're going to talk more about this later, but this is really fun to do, is to go from your upper position, slide, to a lower position, slide. Okay, we'll talk about that more later, but you can experiment with these slides that you've learned so far. Okay, let's go ahead and play with the blues backing track. You're doing an awesome job. And again, this is just working on up slides here. Okay, here it is. 1, 2, here we go. Okay, let's try multiple octaves. Okay, you're doing an awesome job. This is the upper position slide, so you want to get real comfortable with this. Again, guys, be very methodical about the way that you practice. We're building layers. Make sure that you can do this just using this top set of notes here before you try to incorporate this in the multiple octave lines. Okay, you're doing an awesome job. The last slide I want to teach you today is the double slide, and this is a cool slide, guys. Check out the double slide. Okay, what is the double slide? By the way, we do have the lesson sheet here if you guys read sheet music, right? I've put all of these examples here for you. And by the way, if you don't read sheet music, or if you don't read sheet music very well, that's totally cool as well. In fact, all of the lessons at Piano with Johnny, you don't have to be able to read sheet music. So it's here as a reference, but if you can't read it, don't worry about it. All right, so double slides. Okay, what we're doing here is we're starting on the 4, the F, and we're coming up like that to the G. Okay, 2 finger on F, 3 on G flat, and 3 on G. That's your double slide, okay? You're really gonna wanna spend time getting comfortable with this because it's not very comfortable at first, okay? And just really getting it smooth, right? You don't want it to be like you don't want there to be gaps in between. You want them all to be. You hear how smooth it is? They all kind of have the same value. Okay, and so you can practice this slide, you know, you could do a little exercise like. Okay, so I'm like starting on the beat. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1. By the way, guys, you may have been wondering, where do I start the slides? Because some pianists, they think, well, I start the slide before the beat, like 3 and 4, and like and 1. And the slide, generally the way I play slides is I hit it on the beat, okay? So like on the down slide, like it's like 1, 2. In other words, I'm striking 1 on the G flat. Does that make sense? 1, 2, 3, 4. Same with the up slide. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's always on the beat. No different with the double slide, okay? 1, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, okay? If that makes sense. Okay, so get nice and comfortable with that slide. Once you start to feel pretty good about it, let's start making lines, okay? Again, start off simple. I can't tell you how important this is. Just build lines over the 1 to 4 chord with a double slide. Let me show you some examples of this. 3, 4, 1. And we just sort of worked through the full 12-bar blues form. You can use the thumb on the E flat, that's totally fine. Okay. By the way, why do I call this middle position? Well, generally speaking, the way we think of positions are where the thumb is at. Like we called this low position down here because the thumb is on C. The upper position, you could think of the thumb as being here on the G. But for this position, your thumb is sort of in the middle, right? It's not on the C. And it's not like on the G, right, in the traditional blues scale, right? It's like here, right? Like if you were to play a note, it'd be the E flat. I call this middle position, okay? Okay? You can also think of it as terms of the third finger being there, okay? Okay, but I think of it as a middle position type of slide. Okay, so you guys get the idea. That is the double slide. You can work through the form. All of the principles apply, okay? You can try starting your line with the double slide, okay? You can start with single notes. Up. You can start on the B flat. Okay, lots and lots of variety I think is very, very key. Okay, before we play with the track, I want to talk about how to utilize this slide in multiple octaves, okay? So again, this is an up slide. Generally with up slides, they sound really good going up, okay? Because they have this natural momentum, okay? Now, it's a little awkward coming up from the pinky, right? If you want to come up the piano, you can cross under the pinky, not the best fingering. So you can change the fingering, you can use the thumb to get up to the C. That's totally fine. And there's my line, okay? So you can start with the double slide. Okay, here's another idea. You could start with just single notes. You see what I did there? So that was just single notes, bum, 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 and then the double slide, right? And then whatever line you want to end with. Okay, so that's very generally speaking how I would try to incorporate this with my lines. Okay, you're doing an awesome job. We are flying through, guys. By the way, we're going to talk about combined slides and then harmonized slides. I think the coolest thing is the harmonized slides. You're going to hear it and you're going to go, well, actually played it earlier, it sounds super bluesy to me, so I'm super excited to show that to you. Okay, let's do some middle position slides. Also keep in mind eighth notes and triplets. Eighths, triplets, up. That's the triplet line. Triplet, 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 triplet. Can kind of have fun with different rhythms. Okay, let's do it with the blues backing track. Are you having fun? I'm having a blast, guys. We are playing the blues. We are improvising. This is so much fun to do. I mean, who gets to sit at their keyboard and create this music? Not everyone. It's such a great gift to be able to have a keyboard, have a piano, whatever you're playing, and be able to make music and express yourself. What an incredible gift that we get to have as human beings and to express ourselves this way. All right, guys, let's play it with the track. You're ready? I'm ready. I'm excited. Let's make some blues together, okay? Here we go. 1, 2, here we go. I'll do some multiple octaves. Oh, you see the down slide there? All right. Again, guys, I want to point your attention to the fact that when I do this double slide, I'm not usually jumping around the piano. It's somewhat of a stationary slide, right? Okay, I'm not usually jumping way up and down the keyboard, so if you're playing in the same position, you're doing the right thing. That's my general approach with the slides, is it's a stationary device, right? If you want to move up the piano, use triplets. Okay, and then use your double slides. And then you want to get down the piano, use eighths. And then double slides. Okay, so it's a stationary device. Don't be afraid of sitting in the same spot when you're doing that. Okay, so guys, we've talked at length about the various slides we can use. We talked about this lower position down slide, the up slide. We talked about the upper position up slide, right? And now the double slide. Holy smokes, that is 4 slides. Guys, what do we want to do next? We want to combine these slides, okay? You don't want to just play 1 or 2 or 3. You want to play all 4 slides if you want to sound like a true blues musician, okay? So there's a few exercises that I like to use for this. One that I really love to use is just a repeated pattern, okay? And let me play. Actually, I have this one notated here in the sheet music. Okay, and what you can do here is repeat the same set of notes, okay? There's 2 approaches to this little pattern. You could do an up slide to G, B flat, down slide to F to E flat. And I believe I played something similar to this earlier, but this is a great way of practicing your combined slides, is come up with an exercise that utilizes both. There's an up, there's a down, up, down, and you can practice this over the full 12-bar blues form. You can do that over the whole thing, okay? Great little exercise. You can also do a double slide, right? This time I'm doing the same thing, I'm just coming up from the F. Okay, if it's too much to come down to your 2 finger, your index finger there, you can go down to the C down there. and that's totally fine. You guys see what I'm doing? There's an up slide, and then a down slide to F, and then down to C. Okay. So again, the goal here with this portion of the lesson is to try combining slides, and you want to create lines. Okay. What I might start you is first just focusing on these two, right? So like the up slide and then the down slide here, okay? And just building lines. What I'm doing? Okay, really just focusing on this two sets of notes and just exploring it from multiple angles. Okay, you can also do this in different octaves. You can come down the piano. Right? So now I'm sort of expanding the context here, right? I'm saying, okay, I'm going to start with a single note line, eighths, and then do my double slides. You guys seeing it? Okay, I'm coming down, I'm moving into the slide, and also keep in mind there was a very clear ending point there. That was the end of a phrase. Okay, you're hearing these phrases, you really want to make sure you're playing phrases and not run-on sentences. Every phrase should have a very clear ending point, okay? So you can explore this in multiple octaves, you can do down lines, you can do up lines. Okay, there I did kind of an up slide and then a down slide, okay? Do a down and then an up line. See what I'm doing there? Okay? So you really want to get comfortable, explore this from lots and lots of different angles, and then once you start feeling comfortable, keep in mind the other principles that I taught you, which is, hey, don't start on beat 1, maybe start on beat 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, or start on beat 3 on the ands. Hopefully you're starting to get a better sense for this. Okay, again guys, let's stay focused here. We're focusing on two slides. It's an up slide here and then a down slide here. Okay, let's do it once over the 12-bar blues form. You're doing a great job. And here's something, hopefully, like what you might play. Okay, I'm gonna walk you through as I'm soloing. 2, 1, 2, we'll keep it simple at first. Change the octave. Now try multiple octaves, but keep it simple. And as you start getting more comfortable, you can start exploring more and more. At the end there, I was doing more triplets, triplet. Okay, triplet lines, right? This really moves it along more. It's harder to slide when you're doing triplets. But if you're a more advanced player, I think you might be able to handle it, right? I'm doing the up slides, but I'm using the triplets. Triplet, triplet. That's the sound of triplets. By the way, guys, you can use for the slide, you can do the third finger you know, either direction. Like usually when I'm sliding this, like I like the third finger a lot. The only time I change it is like if I'm coming up, I'll use the 2 finger. But in general, it's 3. All right, guys. That is a certain combination of slides, right? It's the up slide and it's the down slide. What are the other 2 slides I taught you? Well, we got the up slide and then the double slide, okay? And so you want to start to incorporate these as well, okay? Generally speaking, if you want to practice them, I think the double slide down to the down slide is a great approach, and just work on that, doing lines. Very similar to what we did earlier. Okay, but instead of now of just doing like that, you're doing like that, double slide. Okay, so work in your double slides. Then if you want to practice your up slides, okay, then you could combine this with the down slide. Okay? Okay? The way I would practice it is like this. Okay, do you see the way that we're combining these? All right, let's go ahead and do it with the track. I'm going to walk you through as we move along. I'm going to talk about which slides, which combinations that I'm using. There's obviously lots and lots of different options. And this is one of the challenges with students is it's like, hey, now you've got 1, 2, 3, 4 different slides, right? That's a lot of options. How do you pick which one to use, right? This can be a big challenge. This is why I want you to spend a lot of time with what we were doing earlier, which is to really master each slide, okay? Guys, simplicity is what I want you to remember, okay? Don't make it complex. Simple is better, okay? Let simplicity be your friend, okay? Here's some ideas of lines. Watch how simple I make them, but now I'm going to use all 4 slides. 2. 1, 2, here we go. Really stationary, okay? I'm really sitting in the same spot. I'm going to move around a little more. And now I'm going to move around a little more. So what I was doing kind of toward the end there is using a lot of triplets. Again, if you're an advanced piano player, you could probably handle this pretty well. If you're more on the intermediate side, that's going to be kind of hard for you to be doing triplets and the slides. But if you really want to push yourself, try the triplets. Triplet, 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 triplet. Okay, hopefully you're getting the sound of triplets in your ear. Okay, enough with my tangent there. I want to talk about harmonized slides. Guys, the ultimate way of playing slides is the harmonized slides. Let me show you how to take these slides and harmonize them. 3, 4. Okay, I'm throwing in a lot of other techniques which you will be learning later, but my point here is hopefully you're hearing all of the harmonized slides. And so this is the next thing that you want to do is, okay, got the slides, Johnny. I got the 4 slides. What's the next step? Well, you want to harmonize the slides. Okay, and how do you harmonize the slides? Well, there are 2 notes that I use to harmonize. You can harmonize with the C, or you can harmonize with the B flat. This is it, guys. Okay, so let's talk about one at a time. First, we'll talk about the C harmony. How do you harmonize your slides with your C? Well, you just add the C on top of the slide. Okay, so if you're going to slide the G, add the C with the pinky. Okay, if you're going to slide down to the F, add the pinky. Okay, if you're going to slide up, add the pinky. Okay, now this is where it becomes tricky for some students because that is not easy for everyone to play. Okay, that's a stretch, and for many students that will feel uncomfortable. Johnny, I want to do that. Okay, and you can play the 2-finger, but then it's harder to do stuff like that. Okay, so I'll give you both options, but in general, 3-finger up, 3-finger down, 2-finger up, okay? Or 3-finger up, 2-finger down, and then come down, okay? It's the same fingering that we used in our last lesson, but now with the slides, okay? So what do you do next? Well, work on lines, okay? Take the first 2 measures, C to the F, okay? And do simple lines. Let me show you some examples. 3, 4. Okay, here's another one. Here's another one. Okay, tons and tons of variety just staying in this position, okay? So, again, guys, all of the principles, 8th notes, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and triplets, triplet, triplet, trip, or it's a little hard to do triplets there, but you can focus on each of these note values. Once you feel you're doing good on that, start on different notes. E flat, G flat. Pick the F. Start on the G. Okay? And then pick different notes or different beats to start on, okay? And challenge yourself. Say, you know what? I'm going to start on beat 2 every time. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2 and 3 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2. Okay? Once you do that, start on beat 3 every time and say, I'm going to only start on beat 3. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2, 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, okay? You get the idea here. Really push yourself, okay? You got to be a teacher. Okay? I always tell my students this, okay? When I'm gone, because most of my students, and I teach a few private students, but if a week goes by, right, and I say, okay, you got to practice this week, I say, you got to be your teacher this week. Okay, you have to imagine, what would I say to you for the next 6 days when you're struggling? Imagine what I would say to you and tell it to yourself. Imagine how I would correct and what I would give you to correct that, and you have to do it for yourself. And so this is a huge aspect of being a student, is you have to also be a teacher. Okay? And so you've got to figure out ways of solving your own problems. You've got to come up with little exercises, because that's what a teacher does, is they help you with exercises. But you also have to push yourself, okay? And you got to say, how can I try it differently? How can I make it better? How can I start on a different beat? What would Johnny say, right? If he heard me playing right now, would he say, you know what? You're starting every line on beat 1, or yeah, you're playing the same slide. You know, I'm hearing a lot of down slides, but I'm not hearing a lot of up slides, okay? Or I'm hearing you do a lot of down lines, but I'm not hearing you do a lot of up lines. These are the things that you need to be asking yourself every time you play. Okay, guys, we're rocking. we're rolling. That is the slide with the C. Let's play it over the full blues form, okay? You ready? Here we go. A 1, 2, 3, 4. Short, simple phrases. Change it up. Pick different starting notes. Good. All right. I don't want to play with the track because I want to move you guys along, but we will play with the track at the very end. But how else can you slide your notes? Well, you can also slide with the B flat, okay? And in lesson number 2, or rather not lesson number 2, in lesson number 4, we talked about how you can harmonize with different notes, okay? The same principle applies now, guys. You can harmonize with the B flat. You can also harmonize with the A, okay? That's another thing you can do, but let's work on B flat for now, okay? Here we go. We're gonna do slides with B flat. Same principle. There's the upside, there's the down slide, there's the double slide. That sounds so good. Let's do some lines here, okay? I'll do it over the full 12 bar blues. A 1, 2, 3, 4. Do up slides, we can do down slides. Simple lines, okay? Clear starting, clear ending points. All right, very cool. Guys, you can also use the A. Okay, and I was playing this earlier, and this is what I'm doing, guys. Basically, with the A, I like to do a down slide to the F. Okay, different note values you can try. You can do eighth notes, 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 2 and 3. You can do triplets. Okay, here's some triplets. Do triplet, 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 triplet. Okay, and then you can sort of mix them up. Triplet, triplet, eighth, triplet, triplet, eighth, triplet, triplet. All right, you guys get the idea here. You guys can also combine the slides when you're playing within multiple octaves, okay? And the way to do this is, really try to think about starting a line and then ending in this position. Meaning, if you're doing a down line, this is usually the easiest way to start, is, start your down line with like eighth notes. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and now do your slide. You see what I did there? So I'm starting up here, and then after this G, and then end your line, okay? You see how this works? It's actually not that hard to do, okay? So you can start anywhere on the piano. You could start here on the E flat, do the slide, and then come down the piano. See what I did there? So now I start on E flat, do the slides, and then end. Lots and lots of different options. You can also start with the slides. You can go. See what we're doing? Okay, we're doing down lines. You can also do up lines. Start with single notes. See what I did there? So I'm moving up. As soon as I get into this general position, I start my slides. You can start with your slides. Okay, not something I do as much, but you can do it if you want. And then from here, just take the blues scale up, okay? So lots of different ways you can approach this. Guys, the last thing I want to do here is play with the backing track and combine both approaches. You can slide with the C you can slide with the B flat, and you can even slide with the A. Okay, I'm going to walk you through as we go. You're doing a great job. Here it is with the backing track. A 2, a 1, 2, here we go. That's the C. Let's do some F slides. Good. Let's do some B flat slides. Good. Let's mix it up. Let's go higher this time. Let's do some A slides. Here we go. B flat slides. Let's do some C slides. A slides, and then C slides. Okay, you see that there's lots of different ways we can combine this? And guys, simplify it. Make your life simple and say, you know what, the first time I'm just going to go measure by measure, and maybe, or phrase by phrase, and say the first phrase I'll do C, and then do B flat, and then do A, okay? You can make it very simple and kind of create a little routine, and then say, okay, the next time I'm going to start with B flat, and then go to C, and then go to A. Okay, lots of ways. This goes back to what I was just saying, which is to push yourself. Try different things, try different combinations.